Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. Run It Back is back. We're here for another episode. It is begun. Halloween spooky season is here, and we made a promise to you that because last year we didn't do anything for Halloween. Y'all said, what? What's wrong with y'all? The fans requested it. The Discord requested it. We're giving y'all 8 movie reviews between this show and Bros Who Binge, all horror films, different varieties of scary. This week is kind of our light, not scary week. Next week, I'm putting it on Schubert. The Grudge, he's freaking in his boots. But today, we're reviewing Scream. I'm joined by the co-host of Run It Back, Mr. Ian Hawley and Adam Schubert. I'll start off with Ian. Ian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Fall is here. The rain is upon us here in Michigan. But I'm not letting it get me down. We got a lot of movies to talk about, and I'm excited, man. A lot of good stuff coming out on TV, too, right now. So, hard to be upset.
That's a fact. Schubert, how you doing, man?
Trying to catch up with everything.
We have so much to watch.
There's, really good movies. The theaters are about to heat up in October and November. And man, we had some really great shows come out, but I'm all in during Halloween, and we picked probably my favorite this podcast.
The only movie you're going to appreciate is this one, because like I said, I'm putting it on you after this. We're going
unless
super
we do The
horror.
Shining. I appreciate it.
Nah, we're not doing The Shining. The Shining not even scary. Don't even do that. We're doing something scary. But let's start off this conversation with because this podcast, at least with Ian, I'm not gonna speak for you, but at least for me and Schubert, we're not really horror guys. So for us to do 8 horror movies in this month is a lot for us. I'll start off with you, Ian. How do you feel about the horror genre and spooky season? That this is like our intro conversation before we even get into Scream, because Scream is a horror movie, but it's a horror comedy, but not in the way that Scary Movie is. This movie's a little bit more scarier than Scary Movie, but not really scary. So this doesn't pertain to what I'm saying. But how do you
created
feel
its
about
own genre of slasher.
It did. So, but how do you feel about the horror genre in general?
In general, I don't watch too many horror movies. I live alone, and that's not conducive to a horror environment. So I tend to stick to the comedies, the dramas. I
don't have a gun in my house yet, and it's just me and Curse. And until I get one, me and her will be scared in that room together, like shaking. No, sir, no, sir. I'll never forget the time I watched Insidious with my best friend. Shout out to JJ, James Jaquette, my brother. Grew up with that guy since kindergarten for life. Shout out to JJ. It was me, him, and our two of our ex-girlfriends, because in high school we always wanted to date best friends so we could do the double date thing. We go on a double date to watch Insidious. Oh, no, not Insidious. Do y'all remember the Catholic movie Deliver Us from Hell? That took place in Italy, the horror movie that came out when we were seniors in high school. I think it's Deliver Us from Hell.
I wasn't going to any movies called Deliver Us from Hell.
Oh, Deliver Us from Evil. That's
not happening either.
Deliver Us from Evil. Yeah, or I think that's what it is.
I think I would have actually gotten the detention at my high school. That movie, right, Ian?
Yeah, you're just asking for trouble at that point.
Y'all really couldn't go see horror, a Catholic horror movie?
No, we can go see it, but I wasn't rushing out to the theater with my 17-year-old friends at the time to go see Deliver Us from Evil.
Oh no, it wasn't. Was it? Whatever it was, I don't think it was Deliver Us from Evil. But whatever the fuck this shit was called, if y'all remember it, it took place in the Vatican. It's this fucking Catholic horror movie, and boy, it was crazy. But the point is, Ian, the whole way home I'm driving, I'm literally have the lights on in my car. I'm playing Ricky Martin, Living La Vida Loca, just things that make happy thoughts in my freaking head, because I'm driving home terrified. I literally have to be on the phone with the girl I went to the movie with the whole way home, because I was like, I can't take it. I'm fucking freaking out. She's freaking out on the phone. JJ's freaking out at his house. I get to my house, and I was like, Mom, can you leave the hall light on? I was fucking terrified, bro. So horror movies really fuck with me. Same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. When I was a kid, I saw that way too young. And my mom always put a cross on our bedroom door. So I was like, no, Freddy's gonna come through the cross. This was me at 8, though. Like I saw Nightmare on Elm Street way too young. So horror movies for me have always fucked me up. And I'm slowly starting to appreciate them with like Midsommar and Hereditary and this new wave of horror. I'm appreciating them. Don't get scared as much, but I still don't really fuck with them. Schubert, how do you feel about horror movies?
Well, one of my memories with you has to do with Paranormal Activity. So
that's another thing. Schubert, tell the story, because with horror movies, if you see a horror movie in a theater with me, Ian, it's a great time.
Yeah,
Are you a talker throughout the movie?
He's a talker, and it's not a whisperer.
I try, Ian. Like, look, bro. To me, I feel like the movie going experience is so much better if you talk during it. Like it just is. And I'll say this: if it's a packed theater, Schubert knows. If it's packed, I'll whisper. That theater was empty that day. Schubert, give me some props.
Yeah, it was empty.
Don't do it. It was just us.
There was only like us and like some couple in the back.
And the couple didn't give a damn. They was probably having sex up there. Who the fuck knows?
Probably.
So
Paranormal Activity at like a 10 o'clock showing.
Lyndon, are you the guy on the couch yelling, "Look behind you! Look behind you"?
Schubert telling movie like, oh.
You're like, no, I don't fuck with that.
Wait till you hear my notes for Scream. My notes for Scream 100% tie into what Schubert said, but like horror movies have never been our thing. They just haven't.
That's fair. I've never been a horror movie guy either, so I don't hate you for it. Not my cup of tea, but you know, I just haven't seen a lot of them.
That's why I'm so proud of us, and I'm making Schubert watch these things. Because if we're gonna do it, we're doing it, Ian. Like the next Run It Back, we're doing a terrifying movie. Whatever is the most scary movie after The Grudge, we're doing it on Run It Back because you got off scot-free with Scream. You're not getting scot-free with the next Run It Back. But let's get into it. You guys know how this show works. We do initial thoughts of the movie. We'll get into our background, and then we like if you watch the old episodes, you know we've changed the other category, but the main category now is called hold on, where's it at? I have it written down. Oh, scene run through / overall discussion. And then we have Are We Sure? We have best scene of the movie, winner, loser, and six man. For those who don't know basketball terms, six man is someone in the movie who's not a lead, not a main person, but that really leaves his mark on the movie, comes in, does his or her job really, really well, and then gets out of there. But those are our categories.
This is a hard movie for that, too.
Yeah, it is. And we usually have an end of movie discussion about something. We'll determine that as we go through. But let's get to initial thoughts. Ian, what's your initial thoughts on this movie, since this was your first time seeing it? In the first time in Running Back history, there's two of us who hasn't seen. Well, no, not the first time, because Schubert didn't see Godfather. What am I talking about? First time in Running Back history that I haven't seen the movie that we talked about before. Because I've only seen Scream 2 and 3. Thought I saw this, so I'll give my initial thoughts after you, Ian. But what'd you think of this movie?
I enjoyed this movie. My problem with horror movies before this movie was that usually they were lacking in plot. Like I just didn't find them that entertaining, the ones I had seen, so I wasn't like rushing back to watch them. But this one does not lack in plot at all, really. Lyndon and I will probably argue about some plot holes later on down the line, but I didn't find it to be unwatchable because of anything about this movie.
I agree with that. I don't think this movie, any of the plot holes that I'm going to mention aren't unwatchable. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So I got a lot of notes here. I'm excited to discuss.
I definitely enjoyed this movie as well. I think that this movie isn't a prestige movie. This movie isn't something that's the best horror movie of all time, but this movie is a quality movie. It's a fun movie, and unlike other horror movies, I think this movie will have the amount of times you can watch this movie and watch it again. Is it run it backable? Is it a movie that you can run back? And I think this movie is, unlike other horror movies, once you know what happens with the killer, those movies aren't necessarily, you can't run those back. This one you can because of the comedy element. And Schubert, this is a movie you've ran back a bunch of times. Give us your initial thoughts for this conversation.
You know, I think I really didn't get into horror movies like these for a long time, and this was kind of like my intro to it because growing up in Halloween in our generation, there was lots of Ghostface, the Ghostface with little bloody mask. And so that was
the
like
little heart
always
pumper.
like thought about like horror
Always
movies.
the bad weird kid would come to school with the heart pumper and be like, ah.
So anytime I ever thought of horror movies, I thought of the Ghostface. So Scream was one that I initially went into and with it mainly because of the things that Ian said, the plot. It's got really great acting, and a lot of those people you end up seeing in things later down the line, which makes an impact.
A lot of good TV actors.
And
these aren't A-listers, but these are B-listers, but like some of the best B-listers.
And really, it really kind of sets the tone for, I guess, the 90s kid generation, because like that is like the path the horror movies have taken. Is that some of them now, and especially in the slasher genre, are. But I mean, of course, you had your early on slashers, but this brings it's a totally different kind of slasher with a strong plot, the element,
even the telephone element, and like that makes me think of what's that movie I always talk about? Oh man, the call you a stranger. Are you a stranger? Whatever that movie is where the girl's babysitting in the stranger's calling, and that's
When a Stranger Calls.
Oh, When a Stranger Calls. That's what it is. Yeah, thank you, Ian. Classic teen movie that you watch at a girl's house when you're playing Spin the Bottle. Classic.
That was a Spin the Bottle movie for you?
That was 100% a Spin the Bottle movie for me. And When a Stranger Calls, we're definitely going to review that on Bros Who Binge if you want to partake in that review. But this is 100% a Spin the Bottle movie. So this was your Spin the Bottle movie.
During Spin the Bottle.
Yeah, because you make the girls want to, cuddle up with you because they're scared. And you're scared.
Oh, come over here. We'll be scared together.
Exactly.
So is meta in a sense that it talks about horror movies.
Exactly.
And that's like one of the first movies to do something like that. And that's what kind of like made its staying power amongst like the, what do you call it? The niche audience. Like when that's one thing they turn to as like why this movie is like the best horror movie.
Yep. And I mentioned the rules and we'll talk about that, but that is something that this movie I thought was one of the best things about this movie. Now, let's just get into it. Let's start off with background. First thing I wrote down, this isn't even background, but boy, does Billy look like a young Johnny Depp or what? Like, dude, I was like, is that Johnny Depp?
Skeet Ulrich, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Looking like young.
Did y'all not think that?
Wes Craven has a type. It's the
Did you not think he looked like Johnny Depp?
Yeah, he's definitely got the look down. Does he go on to do anything big after this because of it?
No. Fuck no.
He's
not the next Johnny Depp?
Okay. Like I said, this is a bunch of C-list and B-list TV actors, but like some of the most popular TV actors. And we'll get into that when I say the cast.
He's most recently in Riverdale.
Yep, exactly. Trash.
Okay, I thought he looked familiar.
But next, okay, so let's get into it. Scream is a 1996 American slasher film directed by Wes Craven and written by Keith Williamson. The film stars David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, and Drew Barrymore. Released on December 20th, it follows. Wow, what a weird time to release this movie around Christmas. December 20th. Weird, but I digress. It follows the character of Sidney Prescott Campbell, a high school student in the fictional town of Woodsboro, California, who becomes the target of a mysterious killer in a Halloween costume known as Ghostface. The film combines black comedy and whodunit mystery with the violence of the slasher genre to satirize the cliches of the horror movie genre, popularized in films such as Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Craven's Own A Nightmare on Elm Street. Scream was considered unique at the time for its release, for featuring characters who were aware of real-world horror films, i.e. the meta stuff Schubert was talking about, and openly discussing the cliches that the film attempted to subvert. Inspired by the real-life case of the Gainesville Ripper, Schubert, it is based on something, the Gainesville Ripper, something that actually happened in the world. Scream was influenced by Williamson's passion for horror films, especially Halloween. The script was originally titled Scary Movie, that is why the spoof was called Scary Movie. If the famous movie with the Wayans brothers and Chris Pratt's ex-wife, what's her name?
Anna Faris.
Anna Faris, yeah. So that's why they call it Scary Movie, because that was the original title for this. The movie was brought by Dimension Films and was retitled by the Weinstein brothers just before the filming was complete. And that brings in kind of the issues with this movie. But it wasn't Harvey Weinstein that really worked on this. It was more so Bob Weinstein. And I explained something why he might be a better person than his brother. Well, no, why he's definitely better than his brother in a little bit. But the production faced censorship issues with the Motion Picture Association of America and obstacles from locals while filming on location. The film received positive reviews and was a financial success, earning $173 million worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing slasher film until the release of Halloween in 2018, which was really great. Halloween Kills is about to come out. It still remains the highest-grossing slasher film in adjusted dollars. It received several awards and award nominations. The soundtrack was by Marco Beltrami, was also acclaimed and was cited as one of the most intriguing horror scores composed in years. It really was great. The score has earned cult status since. Scream marked the change in the genre as its cast already established and successful actors, which was considered to have helped it find a wider audience, including a significant female viewership, i.e. when I say they hired some of the biggest TV actors at the time. Scream was credited with revitalizing the horror genre in the 1990s, which was considered to almost be dead following an influx of straight-to-DVD and direct-to-VHS titles and numerous sequels to established horror franchises of the 1970s and 80s. These sequels drew decreasing financial and critical success as they exploited cliches upon which films in the genre had become reliant. Scream's success spawned a series of sequels, though only Scream 2, released the following year, achieved an equal level of commercial and critical success. This is the cast: David Arquette as Dewey Riley, Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, Courtney Cox as Gail Weathers, Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher, Rose McGowan as Tatum Riley, Skeet Ulrich as Billy Loomis, Jamie Kennedy coming in as Randy Meeks, W. Earl Brown as Kenny Jones, Joseph Whipp as Sheriff Burke, Liev Schreiber as Cotton Weary, although you'll get more Cotton Weary in the later films, and then Drew Barrymore as Casey Becker, with Henry Winkler, the Fonz, as the principal. Scream was originally developed under the title. I already said that. Okay, so here's the stuff about the Weinstein, because I'm going to talk about how this movie is problematic in 2021, because it just is. But Bob Weinstein approached Craven early on in the planning stage because he felt Craven's previous work in the genre that combined horror and comedy would make for the perfect person to bring Williamson's script to the screen. Craven was busy developing the remake of The Haunting and was considering distancing himself from the genre. He was growing weary with what he felt was inherent misogyny and violence in it. That's Bob Weinstein. He thought the film had too much misogyny and violence. Weinstein approached other directors to see if they could tone it down, like Robert Rodriguez, Danny Boyle, George A. Romero, and Sam Raimi. Williamson said that they just didn't get it. He was concerned that having read the script, that many of directors believed the film was purely a comedy, but he wanted Craven. Craven was approached again and then continued to pass in spite of repeated requests. When the production of The Haunting collapsed, Craven was freed from that commitment and found himself in need of a project. Meanwhile, Drew Barrymore had signed on to the film at her own request. When he heard an established actress wanted to be involved, Craven reasoned that Scary Movie might be different from other films of the genre he had previously undertaken, and he contacted Weinstein and Williamson to take the job. So because Drew Barrymore and this big cast of people decided to be in it, Wes Craven was like, okay, you don't have me working with shitty actors, so I'll come do a horror film. But you got to think, all those Wes Craven movies, who's the biggest person in it? I can't tell you anybody who's in those fucking movies. I can just tell you Freddie.
Except for Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah, he was in the first one.
Yeah.
But Johnny Depp wasn't Johnny Depp at that time, though.
No.
Yeah. So, Schubert, give us the casting, the people who could have been casted. This is some of my favorite shit.
Let's start at the bottom, work our way up. So Tatum, who was played by Rose McGowan, they almost gave the role to Rebecca Gayheart, who was not really anyone who's well known, but she ended up being in the sequel.
Okay.
So
as the friend.
Yeah, as the friend. And Randy Kennedy, Breckin Meyer was, which kind of makes sense. They're kind of the same. I'm surprised Seth Green wasn't approached, but
Yes.
Jason Lee had a final callback.
Jason Lee is me. Oh my gosh.
They thought about going female and considered Brooke Shields, and they turned down. Yeah, and they turned down Janine Garofalo. So
Brooke Shields would have been interesting as Randy.
Yeah, I think they did really good, but Jason Lee probably would have been good too. But I think Jason Lee is just too cool to be Randy.
Yeah, Seth Green, like you said, would have been a good call.
So the character of, let's go, Matthew Lillard. He was considered the other Billy.
Oh, he's not cool enough to be Billy.
Yeah, but ended up getting the Stu. Freddie Prinze Jr. But was turned down for Stu.
Good. It makes sense that he could have been Billy, but I'm glad he wasn't.
Yeah. And then David Arquette was offered the role because he wanted to play Dewey instead. Phoenix turned it down.
Whoa, this movie would have went from this is a good movie to holy shit.
Yeah, we're talking about for the role of Billy too. Like, yeah, I think
that'd have been perfect for him. But I'm glad Joaquin turned it down. He's too good for this movie.
Kevin Patrick Walls turned it down, was turned down, and that was the guy who played Steve in the opening.
Okay.
So he's auditioned and then got Steve. And then
he wasn't good. They were like, "We're gonna kill you right away."
And then another big name that was considered for Billy was Ben Affleck.
What? Both as Joaquin and Ben Affleck, this movie would have been different.
Way different.
Ian, do you like any of those choices?
If it was directed by Kevin Smith, Ben Affleck and Jason Lee would have both been cast.
Do you like any of those choices, Ian, for Billy?
To be honest with you, I don't know much of their work.
Joaquin or Ben Affleck? Wow.
Oh. I thought we were talking about Dewey. My bad. It's hard because it was so long ago. Like, I wonder what they would have been like now. I've seen too much of their recent stuff to tell you.
Ben Affleck would have been good. He was. Yeah, that was just about.
Yeah, he would have been fine.
Peaking. We're not peaking.
And
but
he was a douche. Like, he would have played a douche well, and like that's Ben Affleck and Gone Girl would have been Ben Affleck in this, and it would have worked perfectly. And I think Ben Affleck might have been better than Joaquin.
Joaquin would have played Psycho real well.
Yeah, he would have. He'd have been crazy perfect. Anybody else, Schubert, in this casting would have.
So let's talk Sidney Prescott, Drew Barrymore, Sidney. That's what I think brought Wes Craven in.
They pulled Wes Craven a boomerang in his shit, man. He wanted Drew Barrymore to be the lead.
Yeah, but then Drew Barrymore turned it down and wanted to play Casey instead. So they casted, Neve Campbell, who was at that time actually not a bad choice because I think she had just come off the horror comedy, so it worked out for her. Molly Ringwald was offered the role. They thought that she was too old to play a high school student.
She was too old.
And
she'd have been better for Gail Weathers.
And the other big name that turned it down was Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, wow. Imagine if this movie was Ben Affleck and Reese Witherspoon with Courtney Cox and David Arquette. This movie would have been a classic if that was the case. It's a cult classic right now. It's a cult classic. It's a cult classic. Or is it an overall classic, would you say?
I think
I think a lot of people
it's an essential when you think about. I think it's an essential one you think about. You think Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare, Scream, and those are your slashers. Like those are the big four. Those are Mount Rushmore of slasher.
Massacre would be the number 5.
Yeah, and so like that's why I think it's a classic. But the whole series is probably a cult classic series.
Okay, that's fair. Ian, any thoughts on any of this background before we move forward?
I think if it had been Ben Affleck and Reese Witherspoon, it would have been a totally different movie.
Yeah.
So that would have been kind of crazy, especially now to look back on.
That would have been huge for this movie.
Do their careers go the same way, though, if they're in this movie at the time?
Good question. Good question. I don't
Like,
know.
we seeing late stage Ben Affleck as Batman? If he's
I don't think. Does Ben Affleck get Gone Girl? Maybe. But you got to think he's also an Oscar winner, so he probably would have. Like, he still has the Good Will Hunting thing, and this might have just gave him a boost. Like, oh, not only can Ben do Good Will Hunting, but he can also be funny and scream, and that might have made David Fincher be like, this guy can play crazy well. That might have been ripple effects. He might have been in 7.
He could have.
Because David Fincher said he loved Ben Affleck. He just didn't know if he could do it at the time.
If anyone that I named, it would have been a benefit to their career, probably would have been Ben Affleck. I don't think it would have helped Reese Witherspoon.
No, I probably would have hurt Reese. Reese would have probably got.
I honestly don't think she'd be very good at it, so I can't believe they offered her before Neve Campbell. So.
But that's pretty much all of the background because I already said how much the film made, and they're about to do a remake. They're making Scream 5, so Scream has been that successful.
Which is just called Scream, so it's kind of like. But it still has the same characters in it. So.
But isn't it doing the Halloween thing where it's cutting out 2, 3, 4? Yeah, and they're going back to 1. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't think it's cutting out all of them. I think it's only cutting out
3 and 4.
Honestly, I think it's doing all of them because like they really do kind of keep going on a steady rate. Like it doesn't mean like they kind of change what they're doing in like H2O and shit like that. Like it all consistent to the story. That's what's so good about Scream was the storyline, the plot. So.
Okay, well, I'm interested to see what happens with Scream 5. But let's get into it. Like I said, with this scene run through an overall discussion, I kind of just did like I told Schubert in the movies. I basically took scenes and gave my commentary on them, and then we'll get your commentary as well. So the opening scene, Drew Barrymore, hilarious to me because of Scary Movie. Also, I would not have kept talking to this rando, especially since it's the 90s. I can't go to Facebook and stalk them. Also, why did she keep answering? Why did she offer this dude a date? All she had to do was lock all the doors and call the cops. Lamo, when he said, "You little bitch, you hang up and I'll gut you like a fish." Shit was hilarious. And then Steve got fucked. Also, where was Ghostface when Steve got fucked? Also, bitch, run out the door with a knife. Or set the door on fire when you run out because you had a fire going. Throw that shit on the door and get the fuck out and don't stop running. Casey, you get an F for how you handled the situation. And I'm not losing to bitch-ass Ghostface if I'm her. Ghostface was a pussy. Y'all could have, because I'm sure that was Stu at the time. And spoiler alert, we'll get to that later. But look,
I think it was.
If it was Stu,
because like you have to be like, oh, who was this in this point? I think I was Stu. Yeah,
Stu was getting his ass whooped. I'm whooping Stu ass. So Casey,
and like I don't know if you guys catch this, but on the rewatch, and I guess this is just a little bit farther up from what you're saying. Stu they actually were talking about the murder. But yeah, it was like my ex-girlfriend, and so like accusing Stu of like doing that, and like
yep.
Once you eventually find out that it was, it's like, oh, so there's like his motive, even though they're saying, oh, we have no motive.
See, I thought they were trying to make Billy seem like the guy from the jump, and then they tried to take it away from you. But early in the movie, when Stu says that, he looked at him like, shut the fuck up. And I was like, whoa, why is he looking at him like this? But I just assumed that it was, oh, they're going to make me think he did it. And then they're gonna make you think he's the original suspect, and then he won't be. They'll pull the wool over your eyes. Funny enough, it ended up being him. But Ian, what'd you think of that opening scene? Casey was an idiot.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I don't know. It was 1996, right? So shit was probably different back then with like what we know about stranger danger now. Like that shit wasn't.
That person on a date. She said she'd go on a date.
She was like, this guy's calling me. She was what, like 17?
Why are you entertaining this guy?
I don't know. There's something to do. You're home alone. I don't know how chicks work, man. I'm not going to pretend like I do.
It's the same way people would talk to people when we were younger.
Oh, yeah. And
like Omegle and all that shit now.
Yeah, Omegle.
Yeah, dude, that's the same shit. So I don't know. I mean, she was just chilling on the phone at one point, and then the next, it's like, oh, I'm outside your back door. She's like, oh shit, what? So shit escalates quickly. I
She
can't.
definitely
put too
should have took
much.
that fire and burned his ass, though.
I'm definitely not going to victim blame Casey here, but
They victim blamed
But
throughout this whole movie. We're gonna get.
she
to
does
it.
not perform well under pressure, so I'm okay with your F.
Yeah.
It did not
She's
do
not
herself any
performing well
favors
under
there.
pressure.
I'm going
No.
to rate all of their performances from the kills. Y'all can give your grades as well.
You got the
But
Scream report card going?
yes,
You know,
Casey gets an F.
My favorite part of the
For
opening
sure.
sequence is when they're talking on the phone and they're like, "Let's do movie trivia or whatever." And then
I thought of you with that.
because that is truly a good movie trivia question. Who is the killer? Who's the killer in Friday the 13th? It's not Jason.
It's not it's Jason's mom.
So I appreciated that because because I just recently I was like fresh. On
Yeah,
my
the
mind. I was
references and the little, especially the
meta-ness.
soundtrack you mentioned it earlier, but yeah, just the overall weaving of like so many different bits of horror culture and pop culture at the time into the movie was really great.
Yep.
But yeah, we can keep going here. Steve, didn't really have a shot from the start.
He gets
But-
an F minus.
So are
How
we
you
going to
gonna
talk about
lose?
where was the killer at the time that Steve dies?
Oh.
Because you brought that up. I think they might have both been there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. But see, I don't know. I think that might have been okay.
There's only
They might
Well, that
have
would
both.
play into your theory.
Okay,
That would
my
play into
theory
your
is
theory
this.
of Billy
was-
looking at Stu to shut up because they were both there.
I think they captured, oh boy, the boyfriend, and then brought him there, and Billy left. And then I think Stu did it alone. Oh, you think Billy was there?
I think they were. I think they were both there for everything. Like that was their thing.
Potentially, yeah, that would make a lot of sense. I mean,
But
what
you
is the
gotta
other
think.
guy
But you
doing
gotta
at the
think.
time?
Billy was over there at old girl's house. He was sneaking into her window.
I mean, I feel like the
We don't have
order
the
of
proper timeline for that.
sequences of
True.
scenes is very important there because that would seem to imply that he had just gotten there right after all that shit had happened.
And it could
In my
seem that's
opinion.
why he was so out of breath.
Potentially, yeah, he looked kind of spooked.
He did.
See, I from the very beginning was like, okay, this is the guy because in that scene where he leaves the house, they're playing the Blue Oyster Cult "Don't Fear the Reaper" in the background. And actually, I was watching with the subtitles on, and the lyrics that came up on screen were, I really like this song. It's like the Will Ferrell SNL spoof they did and all that shit. But it worked really well here because the lyrics that were quoted were Romeo and Juliet were together in eternity. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the Reaper. So it's talking about
right there,
our
yeah.
relationship will last forever. And they had just killed a couple right before that. So
I should have
thought
watched
that was
with the subtitles.
brilliant. I was like Shazamming all of the songs just to see, what the significance would be with the lyrics and shit. But that one I thought was the best because it fits the storyline to that point so well. And I was like, okay, Billy is definitely the guy.
That's a good find.
So I don't know. We can let it go from there. But at this point, I'm thinking, okay, Billy is probably the killer. I have different points of throughout the movie where I might have changed my opinion. We can get to that as we get there. But for me now, it's Billy.
I'm kind of with you with Billy right now because he just looks sketch.
Super sketchy.
But I do get off of him in the movie, and I'll let y'all know the points as well.
And
Billy,
that opening sequence is kind of puts into the what I think is part of the motive is that they were going to. I don't think they were going to kill Sydney in the first time. I think that they intentionally just wanted to scare her and have him have sex with her.
Okay.
Because they didn't have sex together or whatever. And I think they were thinking, well, we can, because they were manipulative enough. They were thinking, let's just almost kill her.
So why'd they kill Casey?
Well, Casey's a different story. That was Stu being like, I gotta kill Casey.
Stu had beef. Yeah, that's his ex-girlfriend. They had beef.
Yeah.
True.
They had beef. So I think Billy's like, oh man, I could really want sex with Sydney. Let's make this happen first and kill her. And also they were playing with all that on the anniversary of killing the mother. So like I think that they
To make
never
her get
in that
over
middle
it.
sequence never wanted to actually kill her. They just wanted to scare her.
And Stu fucked that up. Fair enough. So the next thing I wrote was, here we go. Billy hit her with the classic 90s skis ball line to convince a girl to sleep with you. Oh, you're just such a tease. Like, why are you just teasing me? I was like, 90s skis ball trying to get into the pants. And the next thing I wrote down after that is the Fonz is the principal. Hilarious. The fucking
Absolutely.
Fonz.
Henry Winkler is dope, dude. He's low-key one of my favorite actors that I've been watching stuff of over the last 3-4 years, and he is best in like a complimentary role when he just does little bits on the side. I thought just including him at all was great for me as a Henry Winkler fan, but I thought he played his role pretty well. But we'll get to that. I was like very excited when he popped up on screen.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Fonz. So, and then the next thing I wrote after that was, damn. So not only is Billy a skis, also Jamie Kennedy and Matt Lillard are super sexist to women, saying a woman couldn't do that, couldn't kill them. Like, fuck no. What do you think? They gutted her. But again, to Schubert's point, Matthew Lillard knew too much about what happened, and that kind of gave it away, looking back at it.
Yeah, that's like the central time where they kind of tell you what actually is happening subtly, and it's for the people who get it or don't get it. But I still think the twist works.
No, it does.
It's a good twist.
100%. And then the next thing after that I wrote is, poor Sydney, I wouldn't stay home alone knowing that a killer is there and my mom died like she did. I would go to a friend's house. And then the next thing after that, I was like, OMG, why would you go outside if someone crazy called? And why would you play along with this like this is Randy? And then I said, she basically let him in, dumbass. I would never go upstairs or call someone while someone is trying to get me. Just the way Sydney handled that was just not the best of ways.
I mean, she was pretty crafty once he got inside.
She handled herself well.
She's a good final girl, and she does well under pressure, not Casey.
I'll give her a C for this performance. She gets better grades later, but this was a C.
Fair enough. I would say C- just for the fact that you're right. Letting opening the door is a huge mistake. But
and then just
she definitely
on the
does.
phone like this is like she thought this was Randy, then she thought it was Billy. Like, how don't you know your own boyfriend's voice?
Yeah, that's I don't know, man. People sound different on the phone, I guess. That sometimes that's like a bit in movies. I don't know. Maybe that's the excuse. But yeah, she fucked up. No matter who it was.
That's one of my Are We Sure's. How does Sydney not know her boyfriend's voice? Yeah. I had an Are We Sure before that of, damn.
He uses
Sydney,
are we
oh yeah, he does. But still, like, I don't know. I don't know if he would have instantly thought that was
later that it changes your voice.
No, I agree with that, but I'm saying if you hear that it changes your voice, you know that, then you should have known that wasn't Billy. Like if she instantly said, "Is this Randy? Is this Billy?"
She thinks that they're.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's not a good Are We Sure. This next Are We Sure is hilarious. Are we sure Sydney's riding the bus as a senior in high school?
Definite Are We. Get a driver's license.
I don't know. Seems like a pretty rural place. They got the one. Casey was like out in the woods, like out on the farm. She got so many
friends, Ian. She like girls don't. A girl would not have ridden the bus in high school as popular as her with her rich friend Rose McGowan, who probably had a Jeep.
No. They were riding the bus together. Don't worry about it. Makes total sense.
But I'm glad you agree with me on that. That shit. I was like, huh? We're riding the bus. Next thing I wrote down, and if y'all have anything in, but go ahead and jump in. But the next thing I wrote down after that is after her instance with seeing Ghostface and getting saved by the guy is Courtney Cox calling her cameraman a fat tub of lard ass is hilarious.
Yeah, Courtney Cox's character is really great in this. Really.
And then she got cold clocked at the police the police department.
6-man potential.
No, she's a starter. She's a starter. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like no, she's not.
Are we doing the starters and 6-man thing now?
No, it's too early.
No,
It's too early.
but I'm just saying.
All right.
Courtney Cox is the starter, but this is during the police scene. And if y'all have anything in the police department thing that y'all want to point out, go ahead.
Man, Dewey's pretty much made fun of by his sister, shit on in the middle of like all of his coworkers. You can hear them laughing. It's hilarious.
Bro, look, I gotta do. Y'all want my Dewey? Are we sure now, or y'all want it later?
Well, I mean, is it
a right now thing?
Relevant now? Later.
It's relevant overall to the story. We'll talk about it later. But I definitely have a Dewey. Are we sure? And it pertains to just how he is throughout this whole movie. Like you said, just getting punked by his sister, co-workers laughing at him, just embarrassing.
Yeah,
that's a. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say he is kind of a character that gets shit on a lot.
Just a loser.
Yeah, he's the not necessarily like the lame older sibling, like the burnout older sibling, but he's kind of treated that way. Yeah.
And also, Dewey is not 25. Like, I'm gonna say that one now. I have two Dewey. Are we sure? Are we sure Dewey's 25? Like he said. Dude doesn't look 25. Yeah, bro, David Arquette looks like he's fucking 35 in this movie. Dude, he's supposed to be 35.
How old do you think Courtney Cox supposed to be?
I think Courtney Cox was like 30, 31, 32.
Don't let her hear.
I don't know about that.
How old was she supposed to be? 25?
I think mid-20s.
Oh, bro, get out of here with that.
She's the same age as she is in Friends.
Oh. Whatever, Courtney Cox. I don't think there's nothing wrong with me saying she was a 30-year-old kick-ass.
Like maybe 28 at the most.
And I give Courtney Cox her props later, so don't you worry. I give her a thing, and my girlfriend's gonna get mad when I say this, but I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say it in a little bit. So the next thing I got after all of this is, Courtney Cox getting cold clocked by Sydney. I thought that was badass, bitch. You want to write a book about my mama? Get cold clocked.
Yeah, you better come correct. Like if you're back there being a bitch, you're probably gonna get knocked around.
Next thing I wrote is, I don't know if I'm going to school if I'm Sydney.
I don't know where I'm going though at that point because mom's gone, dad's gone on a business trip.
I just want to be in public.
What am I doing? Driving to grandma and grandpa's house?
I'm either going away or I'm at a public Starbucks sitting with like people around me all day until I go to my friend's house.
You're chilling at the coffee shop, hiding in plain sight?
I just want to be in plain sight, brother. That's all.
I mean, if you want to be in plain, want to be at school in plain sight.
Let me tell you why. Because school is a circus, and like we see, you got dummies dressing up like Ghostface, people talking about you. That bathroom scene was vicious. I felt so bad for her. They were straight up being super mean, those bitches. And this is where I get into, yikes, this movie's very problematic. A lot of victim blaming. Billy was victim blaming, trying to have sex with her, saying you need to get over your mom, which is fucking crazy. Those girls in the bathroom victim blaming. All of that shit was wild. And I was like, ooh, this shit would not fly today.
Yeah,
I mean, I thought it was an accurate.
The bathroom scene is real rough.
Portrayal of how like high school kids act, though.
True.
Like they weren't off, I don't think, with what they were having them say. It was shitty, yeah, but it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of adds to the depth of the movie a little bit. They're not necessarily focusing on the town itself. They're at least giving you a glimpse into like
how they are.
Some real shit going on in the town. And how people like other people outside react.
I will say that's how people in 1996 acted. But but is it problematic in 2021? 100%.
You don't think people act like that anymore?
I don't think they act like. I'll say this, Ian. I don't think nobody's saying what Billy said. Billy was basically like, get over your mom's death and have sex with me, bitch.
I mean, you're a 17-year-old guy. You're trying to bust a nut.
You think you'd say that to a girl? That's ballsy.
I've never dated a girl whose mom was raped and murdered, so I don't know how I'd respond in that situation after a year.
Her mom was raped as well. That makes Billy even more of a fucko. Get over your mom's death. But it makes sense because he killed her because of what happens later down the line, which we'll talk about. But dude was a fucko. Next thing I wrote, like I said, Dewey is not 25. Dude looks 36. And then next thing I wrote after that is Oh no, damn, Ghostface got the Fonz.
Yeah,
funny-
man. Okay, so
funny bit.
what was going on there with the knock on the door? Where do we think he was hiding at the time?
I don't know.
The
That's a
closet.
tough one. Locker.
Yeah, I don't know.
Potentially, but wouldn't he? I mean, he was standing at the closet, and because he was looking in the mirror at the beginning with the mask on,
Mm-hmm.
and then he
I mean, he got to
closes
the door
it before he
fast.
walks over to the door.
Yeah, he did under his desk, maybe.
Maybe because, like, I'm thinking if he's in the closet, you would hear the sound coming from the closet. So maybe the first time he wasn't, and then when he left, because he leaves for a while the first time, a good 10, 15 seconds, and goes and checks out of the main office, then comes back. So maybe he sneaks in the closet then and then checks the closet doors, and then he thinks it's the main door.
I think it's under the desk to closet, knocks, makes him leave, runs out of closet, stab.
Because he's hiding behind the door, the door to the office at the very end.
Yeah.
And so at that point, you think, the second time he moves behind the door?
Ooh, that's a good. I don't know. That's. I would have to rewatch that. Schubert, what you think? Because you
I don't
watched
know.
this a bunch. Yeah, I don't know. That's a
I don't
good
know.
question, Ian. Y'all let us know in the comments what you think.
It's a hard one. That's definitely the one that's the biggest argument, sure. But my question when I think about that is it Stu or is it Bill?
I think that was a Billy. You think it's
Well,
Stu?
so if we're following you mean behind the mask?
It's probably Billy. I think anything like this is Billy because Billy's
That's
more
what
psychotic.
I was about to say. I think anything that's very what's the word? Very precise is Billy. Anything that's sloppy where he's getting his ass whooped, that's Stu. And this was precise. Like I feel like this was Billy even more so because the Fonz had beef with him, and like I didn't feel like that was.
Is this the straight? Oh no, that's later. The throat slash.
Yeah. Yep.
Well,
But,
I think like if we're under the theory that they worked together for all the kills, then maybe the first time it was someone else knocking at the door and running out.
Could have been Stu.
And so
That
that's
could've
when
been
he
Stu.
sneaks in the door.
Yep. That's a good point.
There was
like
also
that
a door right across the hallway, so he might have popped into that office real quick, just hid in
one.
there.
Just to hide, yeah. Fair
And then
enough.
come and knock on the door again.
That's a good
I also
one.
think that Billy was in the bathroom with Sydney.
I
it was
kind of
Billy?
do too. Yeah.
I thought it was, of the two of them, I would say probably Stu, because he had big boots on.
I thought that Billy would be the boot guy.
I did too, Schubert. And I thought Billy would be in there because that's his girl, like he loves her. He's trying to like figure out how he can convince her to have sex with him if there's girl talk or whatever.
Trying to skip into thinking
to
that
having sex with him. Yeah.
Didn't Stu say he was a hunter though? Like I feel like the boots, because that's all they show is the boots.
That's another.
I feel like that.
And Stu
And he
said
just
he had
looked
a
like a
crush on her
big
from
guy,
the jump.
big shoes.
Another thing is he could have been if it's Stu, big guy, big shoes. Stu said he always had a crush on her from the jump. Could have been trying to be a peeping Tom.
Potentially, yeah. Maybe he was gonna, try and rape her.
Yeah, it works either way though. I like
But
that.
now we find out school's out.
Yep, school is out, and
Fonz is dead.
Fonz is dead, and Jamie Kennedy is an idiot.
A party, and fucking Deputy Dewey brings the damn girls to the party. Idiot.
Yep. But wait, before that, I gotta say, Jamie Kennedy's dad theory is so good at the time. It's too obvious, but once you see it's his phone, that's where I'm like, okay, it's not Billy, it's the fucking dad. And I was like, I'm on the dad wave. I thought it was so obvious that they were gonna make it the dad, but then I wrote Dewey's a simp, and Courtney Cox, Gail Weathers, is using her womanly powers the right way. Use that pussy to get the bag, girl. Get that bag. And you're not even giving him no pussy. I'm going to fake your ass out, Dewey, you simp ass bitch.
What was also that weird thing where she was like, you look like you're 12 years old?
Yeah. But he was like,
she was like
I'm
into that.
she was like, yeah, my demographic is, they say men who are 24 love me. And he was like, well, I was 24 a year ago, baby, so I do love you.
I was 24 for a whole year. I
Yeah,
watched you kill that then too.
That's
a good line.
That is
I was
a good
24 line. For a whole year. That is the fucking line. Okay, so yeah, they're at the party, like Schubert said. And then the next thing I go out, man, Rose McGowan goes out crazy with that garage door. And out of all the doors to try to escape, why the doggy door when she could have pressed the garage like Ghostface? But I'll say this. She put it, that's 100% Billy, I think. Or do y'all think that's Stu? I thought it was
Stu's
Billy.
girlfriend.
It's Stu's. That's why I thought it was Billy. And if it is, that's why I'm giving Rose McGowan an A, even though she died, because I assume that's Billy. She kicked his fucking ass.
Yeah, she
That's
did.
why I
She
think
had done
it's
the
two,
most
'cause-
up to that point, definitely.
Like, I thought her only error was in going out the doggy door. When she hit him, that garage door was right there. All she had to do was press the button, and she was out of there. She was out of there.
They had made the point to show that the garage door wasn't working properly before that. So maybe she felt like she couldn't get out in time if it didn't rise far enough. Yeah, I probably would have too. I'd have rolled. But
also, my are we sure for this moment is, yeah, exactly. I'd have rolled out of there, Ian. My are we sure for this is, how do they not hear Rose McGowan dying?
It's a good one.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, there's a bunch of them in there. They're yelling at the TV, like, you know.
But
think about
also, how does Ghostface navigate around that house in costume?
Oh, bro! Like, are they going into rooms, costume, popping out? Because if you pop out, how don't they see? Like, that's a good argument, Schubert. Yeah.
Well, it was
suspend your disbelief.
It was Stu's house, right?
No, it was
Randy's.
It was Randy's. It was Jamie Kennedy's. Yep. So, would y'all grade Rose McGowan's death? I think. Look, I'm giving her an A because she tried. She kicked their ass. She didn't go out like fucking Casey. Her only mistake was going through that damn doggy door. I would have never.
That's why I have to give her a B, because it's embarrassing.
All right, you're right, Schubert.
It's one of the most embarrassing kills in the movie because of
that was fucking stupid. That was like one of the you took the bottle, you hit him, you whooping his ass, and then you go through the doggy door.
Well, I'm not just like when that machine is rising.
Beating his ass too, though. She could have like broke a bottle and stabbed him. She wasn't thinking.
Yeah, she had all that glass right there. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'm just like off the rip picking up a bottle and stabbing somebody like out of instinct. But I will say when she was stuck in the doggy door,
survive or die, bro. It's like, and you're right. She should have pushed herself out of there.
Well, she should have pushed herself back in. Like, it was rising. All you got to do is push out the same way you came in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, grab the door. I'm not going out without a fight. That's a long rise to the top. There's like ample time to do something. Yeah. You're just freaking out in the doggy door. Not me.
The good thing about all of us is we're too fat. That door couldn't have lifted us.
Fair enough. Yeah, we got the weight advantage on that one.
But like I said, I'd have fought Ghostface. But the funny thing is, the only man that died was old man Fonz because he got snuck up on. And I'm sure when they captured both, who else?
Third Slice.
Oh, well, he got surprised. That was a surprise. Both were surprises. And then the dad and then the boyfriend who got captured, I feel it was like both of them. But if it was any 1v1 with them dudes, I'd have whooped their fucking ass. Stu did not scare me, and Billy was small.
Yeah. That's
like,
fair.
Yeah.
They didn't have a gun. They coming around with a knife. Like, nah, dog, we fighting. Them girls kicked their ass a bunch of these times. Like, them dudes wasn't shit. All them girls had to do was keep going a little harder and get a nut shot. There's no nut shots.
That's what I'm saying, man. I don't know why people don't just go straight for the balls in these situations.
I'd have crushed them balls.
That's what I'm saying.
Problem God now.
You wouldn't grab the dick and twist. Ian, I know you've seen Friday After Next with Money Mike when he takes the pliers and grabs Terry Crews by the balls and he's like, jingle all the way. I got your balls in the vice. And he's just walking down the street. Bro, I'd have Money Mike that dude. Grab that dick and twist, ladies. That's all you got to do. A man will drop to his knees and water will come out of his fucking eyes. But yeah, Rose McGowan, a B. Schubert gives her a B. Ian, what you giving her?
Strong feelings from Lyndon there. I'm trying to process what I just heard.
I'm trying to save lives out here, Ian. Survival tactics.
I would say B plus because she does the best out of anybody, and I'll even give her an A minus. Just the ending throws me off for her. Like, why are you just riding that thing to the top? You got a good 8-10 seconds. Figure some shit out and get the fuck out of there.
That's why
so the ending kind of blew it for me. But
that's why I'm going B plus. She can't get an A, and she just can't. B plus, I think is fair. She can't get an A for that. She watched herself die. Like she ain't tried nothing.
What's a B plus to an A minus? 1-2 percentage points out of 100.
Those are big percentage points, though, Ian, my man. That's life or death. She out of there. so next thing I got is, okay, so after that, I said, I
was going to say one good party scene, because I think you're about to move to like when the good shit hits the fan.
I'm not. I got a moment with Courtney Cox.
Okay, well, mine is with Randy and the crew on the couch. That's when a lot of the talk of the horror tropes come up. And
bro, I got that. Don't you worry. Wait, let me lead there. I said Lamo at fucking Courtney Cox thinks she's winning a Pulitzer for this trash, nasty journalism shit she's doing. Bitch, you're not winning no damn Pulitzer for this trash journalism. Get that shit out of here. Then I said, Billy finally hooks up with his GF. Nice. And then to Schubert's point, this movie's very meta, and I wrote this exactly like this. This movie's very meta throughout the whole thing, but the Jamie Kennedy saying how to survive is crazy because that shit actually happens, and the rules matter.
Yeah, that was a great scene. Sorry, go ahead.
Keep on.
That was a great scene because, like I was kind of saying earlier, it drew in like the entire horror genre. I feel like it almost felt like a spoof. Yeah. Because it was so all in caps what a good horror movie should be. It just did it in a really nice way. And I thought this was like, especially for a guy who doesn't watch a lot of horror movies, I know like, they hit the nail on the head with those rules. Yeah. I thought the movie guy throughout the film was hilarious. Dark horse for Six Man, but we'll get there. And
see, that's why it's like, oh shit. And when you think of the rules, it's like, Billy did take her virginity, so he has to die.
Which is part of the reason I think that it was schemed out that way.
Mm-hmm. And then Matthew Lillard also was drinking, and he did some other stuff of the rules. He said, "We'll be right back" as a joke. He had to die. And then in a scene that I point out is I'll just wait. I'll save it because there's two more people that don't break the rules but come close, and it saves their lives. And we'll talk about it in a little bit. But the next thing I wrote after Jamie Kennedy saying how to survive because that shit happened, because that shit happened, was Dewey really trying to get it on by asking her to go on a walk? Dewey, you a clown, my boy. And then the next thing I said is I don't know if it's Ghostface or just storytelling, but how they get all of them out of the house is crazy. Like, was that Billy and Stu making the call to Jamie Kennedy's character to say it out loud to everybody, like the Fonz is hanging, and got everybody out of the house? Or was that just a police phone call? Like, who called them? Was that planned by Stu and Billy, or was that just the writers doing that? I thought however they did it, that was brilliant.
I think
by Billy and Stu?
Which if that kill purpose, like it's like, why kill the principal?
Yeah, so you can
what purpose
have it as a distraction,
and then now you have this as to be the distraction.
Yep, good point.
Well, who's on the other end of the phone though? Like Billy's up in the room with Sydney, so it's not Billy. It's not like Stu. A fake call.
It could be Stu because Stu left. Because you remember he said we'll be right back, and we never saw him again until the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would explain it, I suppose.
And he's not in any of the cameras when you watch when you go back to the cameraman and you see the 30-second delay. I kept looking for that. He was not back, and I kept looking at that screen to see who was there because I thought that would be important, and it turns out it was. Now, the next thing I wrote was nice. Dewey and Courtney Cox. I said, nice, Dewey. Courtney Cox is hot. She looked good in this scene, but I was like, but y'all didn't have sex. Y'all make it to the sequel.
Well, they were going to say that they're virgins, but
no. But they didn't hook up. Like they were talking about people who hook up in these situations don't make it to the sequel, and they only kissed when they could have had sex. But Dewey was like, "I'm on the job," and Courtney Cox laughed at him. She wanted that D, and he should have slang it. But I digress. Now, Schubert, I'm getting to the deep shit. If you got anything else before the deep shit goes. Same for you, Ian.
I thought when they go on the walk, it was interesting. The guy had just explained the rules, and Gail says to the cameraman, she's like, "Oh, I'll be right back," when she leaves on the walk.
She never sees cameraman again.
Mm-hmm.
But see, I think her not having sex saved her, and her being with Dewey, because if they'd had sex and breaking 2 of the rules, because I think it's people who broke 2 rules died. Like, yeah, Sydney had sex, but she didn't drink, or she didn't say we'll be right back or do any other stuff. So she didn't break 2 rules. Everybody who died broke 2 rules.
Fair enough. Yeah. I would have to go back and rewatch it to see if that stacks up. The third one was no drugs or alcohol. And the
cameraman was drinking. All the people at the party was drinking, but Jamie Kennedy was, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know. Was he drinking?
I think he drank, but he didn't say we'll be right back, and he wasn't he didn't have sex or hook up, so he didn't break 2 rules.
Yeah, he was a couch guy.
Yep, 100%. So, anything else y'all got before we get to the fire shit? Schubert, you got anything?
No.
All right. So the next thing I got is, here we go. The final fight between. Oh no. Sydney is super fucked up for not. Oh, here we go. Wait, boom, got it. So yeah, Sydney's super fucked up for not telling Billy something sooner. Like, holy shit, she's just looking at Ghostface. I don't know, move, Billy, while Billy's getting stabbed. I'm like, bitch, are we sure? Bag.
Now, what did you guys think when that happened?
I thought he was dead. I thought it was over.
Yeah, me too.
Billy can't be the killer now.
And I was like, oh, it's the dad. Like, the dad just went crazy. It's over with. Homie's done.
I did pay attention to when, because Billy is referencing, horror movies throughout the whole movie, when he's talking to her. I did think it was interesting that he said, oh, the blood is so fake. It just looks like, it's way too bright. It's not dark enough. And if you notice, it was like it almost looked like Kool-Aid or something on his shirt.
See, I didn't notice that.
But I did think he had died. I was just like, because he was gone for so long. But anyway, we'll get to it.
So then, so fucking I think he's gone at that moment. Dunskies. And then I go fucking, the next thing I wrote after that is...
Are we sure Sydney jumping out the window?
Oh, yeah, you know I wrote that. I said the final fight between Ghostface and Sydney. Sydney fell from the roof on the boat crazy. Are we sure?
I don't know what it depends on what's in that boat, I guess. Because if you just fall into a boat, it's usually like seats and the floor of the boat.
So she
landed right in the middle.
And that's what I'm saying. She might hit her back on the seat and then there's so many things she could have hit in if that's a boat. Nah.
Yeah, that's a big are we sure? I gotta lift up the tarp on that one.
Big facts. And then I had another are we sure? The way she hit Ghostface with the door twice, are we sure his ass wouldn't have been knocked out? Like, straight forehead, slam door, hit his ass. And then she hit him again. Like, I thought Ghostface should have been injured because of that. And then
especially because of Stu's goofy ass.
And you're thinking that, okay, you don't know it's 2 people. I just saw you get stabbed with a bottle and hit on the head. Like, are we sure you're not knocked out? But again, it makes sense because it's 2 people. So I guess that answers my own are we sure. But I still think the door hitting him twice should have maybe at least did a little more damage than it did. And then the next thing I wrote... Oh, go ahead.
I thought it was weird, like the detail of when she's running through the attic to get out the window. There's like a bunch of dolls hanging from the ceiling.
Did not notice that. Never noticed that.
Yeah, never noticed that at all.
It's real brief, but if you watch her run from the door of the attic over to the window, they have a brief camera shot where it's like behind her as she's running. And she runs like past a bunch of dolls like hanging on opposite sides of her that are just like one of them looks like it's actually been hung by its neck. But they're just hanging around from like wire on the roof of the attic. And I was like, all right, what kind of spooky shit is going up in here?
Next time I watch, I'm gonna have to look for that because I didn't. I'm with you, but I didn't see that shit at all. That's crazy.
Well, that's why I
Okay.
assumed it was Stu's house because, like, I was like, okay, well, that would have made sense then.
But it
at
makes
the
sense
end of
it's
the movie.
Randy because he's the horror guy.
Yeah, I guess that's true as well. Okay, that's a good explanation.
Yep. So, okay. So the next thing I wrote after that is, whoa, Jamie Kennedy lives. Ghostface just walked past him and said, screw him. Good for Jamie Kennedy. And then I said, damn, dude should have never got out of the van because you should have known, duh, it's the fucking delay, you dumbass. You're the cameraman. Like if that's like saying we're producing a game of football. We're producing radio. You know there's a 10-second delay, but you're like, oh, what's going on? There's no delay. And then we die? Nah, dog. I know that 10-second delay there is always. That's a big are we sure for me. As like a person who works in the industry, he should have known that was a delay.
It's
I mean,
probably
they
my
mentioned
favorite
it.
jump scare in the movie.
Yeah, that's the best one.
Well, he mentions it to her when she's going
When she gets
inside.
yeah.
And then again, right before he gets his throat cut, he says, we're on a 30-second delay, and he turns around. And I don't know why he wouldn't lock the door. Oh, was it open? I thought he had opened it.
No, he opened it and got out and left it open.
Yeah, got out of the car. So at that point, I'm just locking the door.
I don't think he should have ever got out of the van. Yeah.
Yeah. The back door was open too, though, so I don't know if there's a lot he could have done from that position. But
dude's a dumbass, and this is why I think this is Stu also Schubert, because he's a dumbass. Because why the fuck did you crawl out of that van and follow Sydney crawling out?
I knew you were gonna say that fucking one, because like when I was watching it this time around, I'm like, this is fucking Stu's ass. Why are you?
Like, what the fuck? Like you could have easily got out of the van, walked around, stabbed in the head, dead, out of here, kaput. Ghostface,
yeah, like
idiot.
Where'd you think she was going?
Like where could she have crawled to Narnia? Like
yeah. This is one of those. This seems like a spoof horror moments.
Yeah, that was the moment that took me out of the movie. I was like, oh, here we go. Okay, but I went right back in because the next thing is crazy. Courtney Cox, that dummy, just driving all crazy and ran into a tree. She was just like, you on top of my car. You didn't have the gusto to pick up. It's not like Ghostface was by you. You just had blood on your car like a dummy. So we not gonna pick up Jamie Kennedy, and you driving so fast that you can't stop and pick up her. That's another are we sure? I don't know if she should have been driving as sporadic as she was.
I don't know. You see your cameraman dead on the front windshield. That
You're not gonna run him over. Like the way she did it even worse. She was like, "Sorry, get the fuck off my van." Like
I'm not getting out and touching that shit. He's already dead.
But still, Ian, okay, to your point.
There's a killer on the loose.
If you're worried because your cameraman just died, aren't you going to just be a little more careful and try to help people? I don't know. Courtney Cox was wild.
Well, if I see a girl standing in the road, I'm going to try and hit the brakes. But I'm saying, camera guy's already dead. I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like,
fair enough.
The only person I came with is already out, so I'm getting out too while I still can.
You right.
I'd have hit the brakes. I wouldn't have swerved. I don't know why it's like a pretty far drive from the cul-de-sac to where she was standing, so you got time to hit the brakes. But
exactly, that's my thing. But you're right, Ian. You're right. I'll take that back. She should have. It's okay for her to run because I'd have ran. I give her credit for that. But yeah, she should have hit her fucking brakes. What the fuck? Next thing I wrote after that is, oh no, Dewey got murked. Oh no, trunk of the car.
Oh yeah.
Because he's in the trunk of the car. Fucking, but Dewey got stabbed. All right, I can ask my are we sure? Are we sure Dewey's a good cop?
Did we think he was before?
Like, is he a good cop? That's just my question. Is he a good cop? Fuck no.
No.
Like, is he a kind-hearted cop?
No, Ian, is he good at his fucking job?
No, he's terrible at his job, but he's 25. He's not supposed to be the best cop on the force. And
he
also,
sucks in Scream 2 and 3.
We've already determined that he's not like a reliable guy because he's taken his little sister and her friend out to a party where they're all drinking booze, and there's a killer on the loose. So
and brings the news crew person that has been mean to your sister's friend when you're not supposed to and you're on the job to the party, who's an old woman just for y'all to get drunk so you can try to fuck her. Yeah, Dewey sucks.
You're referring to Courtney Cox as the old woman?
Well, she's the oldest. She's the oldest woman in the movie.
Technically the oldest.
She is.
I mean, I suppose. But...
I already said she was looking smoking in this. Ian, don't try to make. Don't look, Courtney Cox. If you're watching this, Lynn got love for you, baby. So don't be like that. That's Ian being a hater. So next thing
She still looks like that now.
She does. Yeah. The next thing I wrote after that is after the trunk shit is Sydney's dumbass saw the video and saw Jamie Kennedy wasn't Ghostface, but locked his ass out the door. What a dumb bitch. And then it was like, Billy came. Billy's alive. Like, thought he was dead. That's when I was like, oh no, this dude, something up with him. He ain't no way he alive. And he walking like, no, bro, you should have been crawling. And then you give him the gun, dumbass Sydney, dumb move again. And then y'all let Jamie Kennedy in, and I was like, no, Jamie Kennedy gets shot by Billy. And then I wrote, damn, it's both Billy and Stu. No.
And he movie quoted again. He even it's like, psycho.
He did. And he was like, yeah, this is the blood from Carrie. Like when he was talking, he was like, I mixed it, whatever. Yeah, that like Schumer said, the twist was great. Didn't see it coming, and I love that. That was great.
Yeah, they got me. I was not expecting it to be two people up until this point in the movie.
And I think that was what made it great, because when it was Billy, I was like, oh, so Billy is the killer. But then when they throw Stu in it, I was like, oh shit, they're working together. What crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah, man. And then they kind of give you a motive.
Okay, let's get to that. Because I was like, at first I was like, damn, they're mustache twirling killers, just crazy. But then when you find out that, Billy's dad got left by Billy's mom because Billy's dad fucked Sydney's whore mom, who they called the harlot of the town, who would walk the streets thinking she was Sharon Stone and would fuck everybody's husband, and made Billy's mom walk out on his dad. Crazy. I don't know if that's worth killing somebody over. I don't think that's worth killing somebody over. I only think there's certain instances where killing's acceptable. But that's not it.
That was where I had. Are we sure that Sydney and Billy would even be dating if they kind of had this kind of familial history?
Because don't you think the dad would know? Like, wouldn't Sydney's dad know and be like, "Oh, I don't want this guy coming over"? But she did say in the beginning that her dad didn't like him coming through the window and didn't like him. So it makes sense, Schubert. You're right. So she kind of was doing this on the low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, why? If she knew that her mom had sex with his dad and ruined their marriage, why would she be?
I don't think she knew that though. I don't think Sydney knew that.
Well, she was of the opinion the entire time that her mom was great and that all that other shit was just rumors.
Yeah, and her mom just got raped. Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, straight up. But her mom was being out here being. Her mom did get raped by Billy and them, but her mom was out here being a hoe though. That we find out she did get with Liev Schreiber, and you'll see that in the next movie or whatever. But crazy motive for Billy and Stu. What was Stu's motive? Stu just loved her? Isn't that what he said? Like, I always loved her.
Psycho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were both fed off that. Each one of them. It really just depends on which kill you're looking at, because like the first kill is Billy's.
No, the first kill is Stu.
No, but I'm talking about the mom. So the mom, that's Billy.
Billy's the mom. Then Stu getting revenge.
Then a mixture of the two for Fawn.
Yeah.
And Sydney was supposed to be for.
Yeah.
But they had their whole grand thing. So it's like one of them had theirs, the other one had theirs, and this was the one they were supposed to do together. Got you.
Okay. Fair enough. I just didn't know if Stu had any motivation a la Billy. I said, damn, her mom fucked his father. That's why his mom left. Ooh, kind of harsh. And then I go, what a great plan by Billy and Stu with the dad, cloning the phone and putting that there with the knife and everything, having her kill the daughter, and then making him suicide and them being the only survivors. I thought that was a terrific plan. I was like, you guys are
Yeah,
good psychos.
Yeah, they watched a lot of horror movies. They figured a lot of shit out and tried to try
Because
something new.
they had no witnesses at the time. Like at that moment, Courtney Cox didn't know, but then it's about to come. Billy betrays Stu, stabs him a little too deep, and then Courtney Cox low key gives them the distraction and saves them, allowing Sydney to escape and then become Ghostface on them. And then Sydney basically picks them off one by one. Stu got his ass beat, and I thought it was funny because and I thought it was funny because he said that a woman couldn't do that, and a woman really like she had to sneak up on Billy to kill him with like the thing and then the shot, but Stu, she gave him them paws and whooped his ass.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
That's Final Girl.
Stu basically the way he died was what he said essentially, and then what else I said. Courtney Cox did. I said that. Oh, Stu mad about getting hit with the phone, and his mom and dad would be mad, but he's just like dying. And I'm like, bro, you're mad about getting hit with a phone and you're bleeding out, and you're like, oh, my mom and dad will be mad, bro. Your mom and dad might kill themselves because you killed 6 people. Like, what do we fucking talk? We're past the point of your mom and dad being mad.
Well,
but
I mean, like I say, Stu's a psycho.
A psycho. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like Billy, for like not each individual kill, but like being a killer in general. Yeah, Stu was he was having a great time, man. Like this was his bread and butter. This is what he woke up in the morning and wanted to do with his life.
Yeah, crazy fuck.
So, being upset about that mom and dad, like especially after just getting whacked in the head and stabbed a bunch, you're losing blood, like he's probably gonna say some wacky shit like that. It's probably pretty tame.
I wrote, bro, you're a killer. What the fuck are you talking about? Next thing I said is, how's she losing to Stu? And I was like, oh, never mind. TV to the face? That sucks. What a way to go out. Like, boom, getting smashed and glass all in there and then electrocuted. What a shitty way to die. He felt all of that.
Yeah, that's a rough way to go.
Instant die when that TV hit him, because it wasn't that big of a TV. It was when the electrocution plus bleeding out from that cut. Like
slow, painful death.
So yeah, that TV to the face absolutely blows. And then the next 2 things I wrote down, the final 2 things was, oh shit, Courtney Cox really saved the day. Shoots Billy. And then the rules really matter because the final thing that Jamie Kennedy says, oh, the final scare is about to happen. Dude lifts up, Sydney caps him, movie's over.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much
very
that's pretty
satisfying
much it.
Ending.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I definitely enjoyed that. Anything else y'all got on the ending scenes before we move to the
one last are we sure we have is the next morning when Gail's doing her little news story. I'm like, who's her cameraman?
Did she just pick up some rando off the street? I guess.
Is it Randy?
I guess you got to assume that she calls. I guess she calls the news crew and is like, get a truck out here ASAP. We have the story of the year. Well, now it's a Pulitzer because it's not trash because she lived through it. I don't know if y'all have ever seen, what's the movie with Woody Harrelson, Natural Born Killers, where Robert Downey Jr. is filming everything that's going on in the prison break and is going through the prison break. And it's like, I'm going to win a Pulitzer because who has ever experienced their story like this? Well, that's Courtney Cox because she experienced the serial killer firsthand, almost died, and lost her cameraman. Didn't seem sad about it, though.
Not as sad as she should have been.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, if I lost my co-host on any podcast or radio show, I'd be super sad. I wouldn't show up the next day to work.
Well, I don't think she had much respect for him to begin with.
Fair enough.
That's true. She was kind of treating him like shit.
And it did seem like he had a crush on her. Like when they were looking face close, he was like, ooh, I want to kiss you.
I don't know about that.
All right, that could be a stretch.
That was the case.
That could be a stretch. But that's pretty much all the scenes. I don't know if I do have some other Are We Sure's in it. Before I get to my other Are We Sure's, you got anything?
I thought Dewey Living was cool to see at the end. They bring him out on a stretcher and take him to the hospital.
Yeah,
He's still kicking.
he'll be
thought he
back
was
for
gone for
multiple
sure.
movies. He'll be back multiple
He's
times.
going to be in the newest one.
Yeah.
He's a staple.
I think
of
Courtney
this
Cox is in the
franchise.
newest one too.
Yeah, them two, all the three people who live at the end of this one are staples. I guess that's spoilers for the franchise, but
It's okay. C'est la vie.
they.
Ian doesn't have to watch the other ones. The other ones aren't as good as this one. Two's okay. 3 is bad, and I didn't see 4.
4's all right, but
So, But the final are we sure I have is, are we sure the police wouldn't have made it way before the next morning? Like, you have a deputy calling saying, Mayday, Mayday. You just heard a girl on the air, like on the radio saying, Ghostface is trying to get me. All of these things are going on. And you haven't heard back from your deputy, and you're telling me the cops and the paramedics don't arrive till the next day? I don't buy it.
I think it was far, and I think it was late.
All right.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but it was
they
the
do
next
say-
morning, Schubert. It was like 8 a.m.
Well,
Yeah.
so they do say when they're explaining their plan to Sydney that it's just after midnight. It's the anniversary of your mom's death. Now we're going to kill you.
And they called
so
the
you probably
cops
think.
before that.
Well, I'm saying, yeah. So you probably think maybe 10, 15 minutes from the time that she radios in the car to the time that they're explaining the plan to her. Not very long. And then another, 10, 15 minutes at the most while they're struggling. And then Gail finally shoots him and Sydney shoots him in the head. And then it's over at that point. So, and I don't think necessarily the cops didn't arrive till the next day. I think they're just showing that, this was such a big thing that even the next morning, there were still 10
Cops
emergency
there.
vehicles there and shit trying to figure out what was going on. And then Gail obviously has to go back because she was the one who witnessed it all. She's going to get sent out by the news crew hey, you were there covering this already. Go tell us what happened on TV. And so she's shooting her stand up for the newscast at the end by that point. I thought that was a good way to end.
I guess,
again, going back to the glimpse of the town, you see so many different side characters and, one-off, like the girls in the restroom, for example. So it again, showing that this outside perspective of this shit does happen, but it doesn't happen in a vacuum. They gave you a good glimpse as to how an entire city might react to something like this. Whereas other horror movies are really just focused on the main characters for the most part.
True. That is true. Schubert, anything else you got before we move on?
I guess the one thing I would add on to what your "Are we sure" is that I guess you could say, are we sure they would wait that long if Dewey was in critical condition?
The next
take
day,
him away.
The next day. Thank you. Backing up. They why was Dewey being brought in the stretcher in daytime? Nah, bro. Them paramedics and all them people should have been there at night. Because like Ian said, okay, at midnight, that's when boom, they're together. That fight don't last longer than 20 minutes, my G. Max 20, 30 minutes, and then they're out. So you telling me they sat from let's say 2 a.m. at the latest, because it's not past 1:30. No way. 2 a.m. at the latest. So you telling me from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. them cops didn't get there? Huh?
Yeah, that kind of blows a hole in my whole theory of maybe they didn't.
The Dewey thing fucks it up.
She
She was right. Because Dewey was stabbed in his back. Bro got to get to surgery. He might be bleeding out.
Yeah. You take one shot to the back. I suppose it's not a death sentence, but you don't last 6 hours just bleeding out of your back.
Straight from your spine. No, sir. Like Mike Tyson said, it's spinal. But that's pretty much all my Are We Sure's and scene descriptions. What do y'all think the best scene was?
Best scene. I think the best scene is probably just the reveal.
Okay. I like that. Ian, what you got the best scene is?
The reveal is really good, but I guess to say something different than Schubert, I would say the movie store scene really stuck out to me. You have again this glimpse of the outside town, and that's really where oh God, what is his name now? Stewart, or not Stewart, Randy, really becomes a central character. simply for being like a horror movie buff and, just being friends with Stu. It was a good introduction because you also see like the reactions of people in the background. Like he's like, Randy is like shouting some horror movie shit at one point, and you see this woman behind him like just kind of shake her head and walk off. So I think they did a really good job with that scene. Um, you know, just tensions flaring, and it was a good tense moment that didn't really have anything to do with like someone jump scaring you.
Fair
It's
enough.
another case of setting up Billy as the killer, where he's like,
True.
man, if someone who had just been accused of murder, going into the horror section, it definitely is a bad look.
Yeah. My best scene is Rose McGowan's death scene. Rose McGowan's death scene, just fighting Ghostface. I thought that was the best.
In the garage?
In the garage. That was my favorite death scene of the whole movie. The favorite fight of Ghostface. Loved it. Thought it was great. She whooped his ass. Stu, get your ass beat, boy. All right, let's get to some of my faves. Let's start with loser. Who's the biggest loser of this movie? Is it Billy? Is it Stu? Is it the dad? Who is it? Who you got? I'll start with Ian. Ian, who's the loser to you in this?
The overall loser, man, I don't know. I guess probably Casey and Steve are front runners for losers. All Casey did was like break up with her boyfriend. She like gets fucked with for a good half hour and watches her new boyfriend die, and then gets killed herself and hung from a tree. So it's hard to compete with that. I go probably Casey.
So you're going Casey? Nah, fam. I'm going. Who am I going to go as biggest loser?
Well, like who else? Because like the mom was like years before.
Yeah,
like, what's a worse death than what happened to Casey and Steve? I guess is my question.
I'm going with Rose McGowan getting fucking dragged up and fucking hung by a garage door by your boyfriend.
So is she a badass for her scene, or is she a loser?
Oh, she is a badass for a scene. You're right. You're right. All right, biggest loser. Biggest loser, Stu. Biggest loser, Stu. Stu. No motivate. No, I lie. Biggest loser, cameraman. Getting knife slit. Biggest loser's cameraman. Dude should have stayed in the car. I'm big on that delay shit. He should have known the delay was there. Gets out of the van, dies unnecessarily, and fucking his partner in crime just ran over his body and didn't give a fuck about him. You're in the afterlife. I don't even know if you got buried. Did your family get a funeral? Who knows? Your body's in the farmlands, scattered.
Yeah, cameraman is really the only place or the only case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's just there doing his job, doesn't really have any qualms with any of these people. He's just like, oh, I got this, not nuts reporter, but
I got a bigger loser.
Over the top reporter.
Let me do mine before you may say mine.
Oh, I got the biggest loser. Say it, you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm choosing the only living loser, and that's Dewey.
Oh no. Okay, that's a good loser. I have a living loser too. Fucking Billy's dad. He lost his wife, and his son is a fucking
off-screen loser.
Off-screen loser. We met him at the thing, and then even when he's sitting next to his son, he's looking at him like, bro, you might have did this. Fucking that dude lost. So why is Dewey your loser, bro? Because he didn't get laid?
Why is Dewey the loser? Because he gets belittled by his own sister in his workplace.
Loses his sister because he brought her to the party that killed her when he's a cop and there's a curfew and a killer on the loose, and tried to get into Courtney Cox pants and failed. Didn't. Yep.
And then got stabbed in the back.
Yep.
And may have bled out for 6 hours.
Dewey is a loser. I like that. I like Schubert's loser. Ian has Casey and her boyfriends, the F's from the beginning. And I got Billy's dad. I'm not going with the cameraman. Billy's dad took the major L. Dude's wife cheated on him. Oh, no, he cheated on his wife, loses her, and then loses his son. Big L's. Big L's. All right. Who's the winner of the movie? Is it Sydney? Who you got, Schubert? Who's
Final
the winner?
girl.
Sydney,
Winner is the final girl.
my winner's Courtney Cox.
That works.
She survived, and she's gonna get her major book story Pulitzer Prize. That's my winner. Who you got?
The minus on Sydney is that she finds out that she sent an innocent man to jail.
Yeah, true. And Courtney
And
Cox
jail
saved
gets that
it.
win.
And Courtney Cox saved that man's life too. Dubs,
Yeah.
Gail, big dubs.
Yeah, I was gonna say Courtney Cox. She, doesn't really get fucked with that much. Like
Nope.
in the grand scheme of things, she kind of just crashes her car, and that's
Has a
the
bunch of
worst. Like,
scratches on her eye. Maybe got punched. That's about it.
yeah,
No stab
I don't think
wounds.
she doesn't even really see the Scream guys running around at any point. So
Not
she's
really.
kind of just chilling.
Yep.
Just there doing her job. Happens to not get her throat cut like the poor cameraman.
Out of here. Now the controversial one. Sixth man of the movie. I'm giving mine first.
Can we say the starters first so we can establish what that
All right.
is?
Yeah, we can do the starters. Dewey.
Sydney, Stu, Billy.
Sydney, Stu, Billy.
Courtney
Dewey.
Cox.
Courtney Cox.
All right, that's fine. I can go with that.
Ian, who do you want out of there? You want Stu out of there?
No, that's probably it.
Okay,
That's it.
cool.
I think that might be the first consensus starting five we've ever had.
Nice. Okay, so the starters: Sydney, Stu, Billy, Courtney Cox, and Dewey. So does that mean Rose McGowan's up for six man?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she doesn't make nearly as many appearances as everybody else.
Nice.
So,
Even though I
I'd allow
don't even though I gave her hero of like best scene, I don't know if I'm giving her six man too. My six man might be the Fonz. The Fonz comes in and bats 100%. Fonz comes in, takes the scissors to those kids' chest and say, "Oh, y'all think expulsion's not good enough? No, I want to slice you from your top of your chest to the bottom and let your lungs fall out." The Fonz was great, man. So I don't know. Ian, who you feeling? Because normally we're different. Who you got six man?
I would say probably Randy.
Okay, Jamie Kennedy.
'cause,
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, Randy lives, potentially there at the end of the first movie, at least. Like I said, I haven't seen the other ones, but, maybe he'll like get with Sydney down the line because they went through some traumatic shit together. He's kind of just chilling on the couch the whole time, like I say. He is by far fucked with the least out of probably everybody else,
And
so,
has one of the most important stuff with the rules. So that's a good one. I like that one.
Good solid character.
I actually might agree with you this time, Ian. I don't know, unless Schubert convinces me otherwise.
No, I'd have to agree with Ian. I mean, Randy's the clear six man. I mean, he's almost pushing starter.
Okay. I'm not giving it to Rose McGowan. And as much as I love the Fonz, Ian might be right with this one. I conceded. I can't pick the Fonz in this one because Randy's rules matter a lot to this movie, and Jamie Kennedy is coming in really strong with this. Okay,
But the Fonz is right there.
The Fonz is right there.
If I'm going with my head, I'm going with Randy. But if I'm going with my heart, I'm going with Henry Winkler.
Yeah, the Fonz. Okay, so we didn't rate Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So we're going to do both Forgetting Sarah Marshall's rating for the comedy poll scale, and then we're going to rate this one as well. So let's do Forgetting Sarah Marshall first. The best run it back comedy is Superbad with a 9.8. What are we getting for Forgetting Sarah Marshall? I'll start us off.
As a comedy.
I'm giving it a solid 8.7. I love Forgetting Sarah Marshall as a comedy. I do.
Talk about a nostalgia rating.
I'm sorry if y'all are probably about to give it 7s, 7.5s. Let's see. What you giving it, Schubert? Let's see your fake score.
As a comedy.
As a comedy, it's only on the comedy scale.
It's an 8.
Thank you. That's fair. Okay. 8.7 plus 8. Ian, what you giving it?
See, now we're doing this, like a week later, 2 weeks later? I feel like I'm going to be unnecessarily harsh on this movie because we didn't just come off talking about it for 2 hours like we usually do when we do these ratings.
Give it something. If you give it a 7, anything lower than a 7, that's a fake rating.
See, I was going to say 7.2. Like, it was a good movie. It was a decent movie, but it's not anything I'm running back to. I thought Paul Rudd sucked in this movie like he does in too many movies for me.
Ian is not running this back.
I'm not running this back.
You're not
It's
running
not
for
a
getting
bad
Sarah
movie.
Marshall back? Wow.
I didn't like sit there and was like, wow, fuck this movie. This is a terrible movie. I enjoyed the movie. I just didn't think it was anything
7.2.
special. And I think Lyndon's nostalgia glasses are a little bit foggy on this one.
Ian's score brings it down, but we're rounding up because it's 7.96 repeating. Forgetting Sarah
That's where I
Marshall
would have
gets
put
an
it, actually.
8. It gets an 8 stamped 8 on the comedy run it back score.
No. If we're talking about an A- and a B+ being different, then a 7.96 is not the same thing as an 8.
Is a B-? No, it is. Always in school, teachers they would much prefer rounding the 7.96 over the 8.96. Y'all know that's true. They much rather give you a B
my God.
than a C.
So because it's shittier than some other movies, we're giving it a free pass for being where it is on the scale.
It gets a B, Ian. And if the fans got a problem with it, they can do it in the comments. 7.96 rounds up. If it would have been 7.93, I wouldn't have rounded up.
All right. So are you doing the same thing for Scream right here? Because this is the first time you've seen this movie. If that's a 7.96, are we rounding that up to an 8, or are you just wearing your nostalgia glasses?
No, we can.
And giving it that last 0.03 repeating points.
We're about to do the add ups. We're gonna see. Let's start us off, Ian. What's your rating Scream? Because Scream is with the other movies. We're not doing, because I told Schubert if I would suggest this to you, you would have an aneurysm, because we already have a comedy scale and then everything else. I was like, should we do a horror scale too?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to ask. I would be okay with doing a horror scale, actually, because horror is a lot different as far as not only the level of acting, but also the plot lines. Like, horror does kind of need its own scale to compare it to other horrors. I don't think it would be fair to put Scream in the same category as
The Godfather, Goodfellas.
The Godfather. Yeah, it's two completely different art forms, in my opinion. It'd be like comparing Jimmy Neutron to like anime. You know what I'm saying?
So you're telling me we're gonna have 4 scales. We're gonna have normal scale, horror scale, comedy scale, and animated scale. Because animated is gonna have a scale when we do one.
No. Not animated. Anime. Anime, yes, you can give anime.
So animated doesn't get like, so again, Toy Story can't be
Toy Story.
No, because I'm saying you can grade SpongeBob against Drake and Josh and have it be valid, but you can't grade like SpongeBob against like Yu Yu Hakusho and have it be like a valid comparison. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all right, I feel that. I get that, but you can't compare the Jimmy Neutron movie to the Godfather.
Yeah, but that would compare Toy Story to The Godfather.
I don't think
Jimmy
you can.
Neutron falls in the comedy scale, in my opinion. Also, it's a TV.
All right, so animation. The Jimmy Neutron had a movie where they went to that's how it started off. Ian, young boy.
I like that movie.
It's a phenomenal movie.
It's a great.
And I think it's fair because the plot lines structurally and the content is close enough to most other.
So are we doing a horror scale? Yes or no? Let's get the votes in.
I'm okay with a horror scale. I did not want a comedy scale because I think the overall plot structure is fine. It's just the delivery from the actors and the literal words are different. So I didn't want that one.
Horror scale.
I was always down for a horror scale.
You want a horror scale? It is. We got 3 scales. Everything else, comedy, horror. All right.
Yeah, we get a little new scale for the next 4 weeks, 8 movies or so.
Where are we ranking this, since this is going to be rated against the next movies that we watch for the next couple of weeks? Oh, Jesus. Schubert, what you got? Start us off.
On a horror scale, it's a 9. I mean,
it is. Good thing we made a horror scale.
I mean,
because if this was rated high, if y'all rated this higher than Pulp Fiction, we wouldn't talk for at least 2 weeks.
I'm just saying, like, this is a slasher Mount Rushmore movie. It can go no lower than 9 for me.
Ian, what you got?
If I could also scale it with normal movies, and if I was going to scale it with normal movies, I put it at 7.7.
See that? Okay, I was going to be generous and do 7.9 if we're doing normal movies. Okay, fair enough. I'm glad.
I was saying 7.2 for the record.
For this one?
No, for the normal scale. Yeah.
For Scream's normal scale?
Yeah. Against against all other movies, and everything's in bounds.
Nice.
7.2.
Okay. So we're all of the same mind. Normal scale. This is a 7. Now let's do the horror scale. Schubert's at 9. Ian, what you got? Y'all, all right, y'all didn't make me mad. Cool. We're good.
See, of the horror movies that I've seen, this was like by far the best one. Because like the plot line was good. It didn't have a ton of plot holes, or like just like compare this to Paranormal Activity, and it's like not even the same ball game almost. Yeah. So like I really enjoyed this movie. I would give it like an 8-7, I guess.
Okay, 8-7 plus 9. I'll split the difference and go 8-8 divided by 3 for the horror movie. See, Ian, this isn't a round. 8.83333. What you want to do? Go 8. You can't go 8-9. This is an 8.8 stamped horror scale. Roar. Spooky. 8.8. We're going to get some more spooky scores in a little bit. Roar later down the line. So that's pretty much all we got this week. So you guys are going to, by the time you guys hear this, this will be Thursday. Friday, be sure and check out Bros Who Binge, because we switched the dates around. This one's coming out first. Bros Who Binge is going to come out second. Friday, be sure to check out Bros Who Binge for Halloween Town Review and Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, among some other stuff that me and Schubert are going to talk about. But Ian, tell the people they can follow you at on social media.
You can find me on Twitter at IanBWT, and you can find me on Instagram at IanHawley12. I have links to my music in both places, and I'm writing some new stuff as we speak. I wrote another song last night, so hopefully we'll have something out by the end of the year.
Fuck yeah. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Ian and check out his music. Schubert, tell the people they can follow you at on social media.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at aschubert14, Adam BWT on Letterboxd. Just got to watching some movies because I went to Denver recently, so I had 2 in-flight movies. And so I watched Boogie, the basketball movie with Eddie Huang directed, and Black Widow. So we will talk about Black Widow on Bros Who Binge now that I have seen it. Me and Linda can compare notes.
Yeah, we will. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all check out Bros Who Binge on Friday. Be sure to check out the most recent episode of the Bros Who Think podcast. And the next Run It Back will be, just to get you guys ready, we'll announce what movie it is, but it'll be not next week, but the week after. And once we decide what the movie is, we'll let you know. Also, October 24th, Pitch It is back. We're getting Ian and myself are hosting the event live on twitch.tv/Bros Who Think. Be sure to check it out. Peter McGinn from What Do You Say Anime is taking on Dan Exclaims. They're trying to get to the belt. Winner of this may be able to challenge me for the belt, or they may have to do one more match, but whatever it is, they're going to be challenging before the tournament. I'm excited. So y'all be sure to check that out. But other than that, that's pretty much all we got. We'll see you on October 20th. I believe that's when this show will be back. No, that's when we record. This show will be back like on the 21st, 22nd, one of those days. So y'all be sure to check that out then. But until then, have a good one and be spooky. Don't answer no phone for no strangers, and don't leave your doors unlocked. And until then, peace.